Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this special webinar on providing liquidity for SME in the isolation economy, how you can access to different forms of financing to extend your business runway. Now, today, this is a very special webinar. Now, SGTech and the isolation economy usually runs this on in the afternoon time, but today, with our friends from TAFF, the Textile and Fashion Federation of Singapore, we're going to put this special webinar just for TAFF. So what is SGTech and what is the isolation economy? Let me give you guys some starting information first before we get started on today's webinar. So first thing first, let me just give you guys a safe harbor statement. Now, especially in this special webinar, a lot of information that we provide is really meant for the intention of education and learning only. Please always seek your own independent legal and accounting advice before conducting any form of business or investment decision. We try our best to make sure that the information provided is as accurate as possible, but where we have fall short, please feel free to email us if you have any feedback, inquiries, or you would like us to clarify on items itself. All right, but always seek your own independent advice before making business or investment decision. So my name is Ivan. I'm a cooperative counselor with SGTech, and I'm very pleased to be your moderator and your host for today. So what is SGTech? Now, very much like TAFF, we are a trade association, but we represent the people from the technology sector in Singapore with more than 950 members, all the way from the MNC to the SME and of course to the startup. We put together this whole range of talk called the isolation economy because we want to be able to help SMEs in the community during this difficult time as Singapore recovers from COVID-19. So two things we have the toolbox and we have the webinar series. So one of the upcoming webinars that I think will be very relevant that you guys might be interested in coming for, organized jointly by Enterprise Singapore, IMDA and SGTech, is how you can grow digital and go international. I think our special guests will be Mr. Chee Hong Tat and Mr. Peter Ong, Enterprise Singapore and the Senior Minister of State. This will be upcoming next week on 22nd June. I think something to definitely look forward to. And of course, all of these solutions, how do you find about, solutions so that you can use it in your workplace? We have something called the Solution Toolbox. Today, I'm so pleased to have with us our friends from Mastercard, UOB, SGEBiz, and EasyLink with us to share with you solutions. But apart from that, let's say you're thinking about other solutions that has to do with technology. They are all available on isolation.sg. And today's solution are all parked under Liquidity solution on the website as well. All right. So as a final reminder, we would like to seek your help after this webinar is over to help us do a post-webinar industry survey. I will talk more about this later. So 3 things before we get started that everyone always asks me. Ivan, can you download the slides? Yes, you can. The slides will be available on isolation.sg for you to download on SGTech website. A recording of this will also be available about 2 hours later. And because this is a webinar, if you have any question for us, click on the Q&A function on top of Zoom and you can ask us questions, all right? So we'll take the question together after our 4 presenter has speak on today itself, all right? So without further ado, I would like to invite, give me a while, I would like to invite Daniel from Mastercard to talk to us about liquidity and going digital in the isolation economy. Hey, Daniel.
Oh, hi. Thanks, Ivan. Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here today. Yes, thank you, SGTech, for hosting this event and this webinar itself. Today, we would like to go through how SMEs can actually emerge stronger and sustain your business by leveraging on digitization in this isolation economy. So maybe let's move on to slide 1 itself. Yes. So what is keeping SME awake at night? We have actually consolidated various responses from surveys that has been done with SMEs and businesses in Singapore, surveys done by Singapore Business Federation and also the Singapore Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry. So among, all the SMEs, I feel that these are all the clear headliners, right, that are always on top of your minds. So let us go through some of them, okay? From the left itself, bottom left itself, basically the survey has shown that 71% of companies are actually facing higher business costs in 2019. And on top of that, right, 54% of SMEs reported a decline in profit margin. That's a huge concern because that means they will actually require, more cash flow in order to expand their businesses and attract more customers to their businesses. Next, in terms of overseas expansion, the desire and interest to actually venture overseas has decreased to 60.1% in 2019 due to the uncertainty in the whole economical and geopolitical climate across the region. And high interest rates has always been top of mind because 65 respondents in the survey for Singapore Business Federation 2019 has stated that the interest rate is still high. Of course, taking into consideration, now the government has kicked in a series of measures and packages to help SMEs and at the same time normalize the interest rate. In terms of manpower, I think 60% of the respondents feel that hiring the right people is still a challenge. Of course, we all know that you need the right people with the right skills in order to make sure that you can better expand your business, have the 100% productivity and more efficiency across your business functions. So this is critical, and I think a lot of SMEs are still focused on that and have a challenge in that. In terms of cash flow, which is another huge aspect, 70% of the SMEs believe that favorable financing conditions will positively impact their business. Yeah, this is for sure, right? So I think a lot of SMEs are looking for other options, and some of the options we'll be sharing with you today. We have some business solutions from a lot of business partners that can actually help SME to improve their cash flow and data visibility to better manage their expenses as well. Linking to COVID, basically the Singapore economy has declined sharply by 10.6% in Q1 this year as compared to Q4 last year. This is again no surprise, and in the next slide we will actually do a deep dive on the impacts of COVID. Last but not least, I think most of the SMEs actually believe that innovation is a key challenge. Well, due to costs associated with the technology and lack of skilled manpower, and at the same time, how to better develop and sustain the digital capabilities down the road. Sorry. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Okay. So for COVID-19 itself, right? When it first started off, the lockdown happened, similar to SARS, COVID-19 has reshaped the online shopping behaviors for consumers and corporate across the world. If you look at the graph on the left itself, top left, you can see there's a huge influence because you see the spike in online transactions across Singapore, Malaysia, and Thailand after COVID the lockdown has happened for COVID. This obviously means that COVID-19 has propelled the growth of e-commerce, and the growth of e-commerce, as illustrated below, in a research done by Economy Southeast Asia Report 2019, published by Google and Temasek, it has shown that the e-commerce economy is going to grow from 38 billion in 2019 to 153 billion in 2025. So on top of that, right, COVID will further propel this growth. What we feel is definitely SMEs should digitize themselves to capitalize on this growth in the long term. All right, don't fall short from the bandwagon. So you should definitely expand your e-commerce businesses and leverage on the growth to attract more customers and increase your revenue. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, over here on this slide demonstrates a use case whereby FMB SME has been impacted by the lockdown, and through digitization, how did it mitigate the impacts of COVID and emerge stronger. So from the box on the left itself, so pre-COVID itself, across 3 segments, right? Let's look at all their processes in detail. So in terms of procurement, basically in the past, right, they have to send purchase orders through the ERP platform that's confined to their HQ office use, meaning to say they have to be in office before they can access the system, before they can send any POs out, all right? And at the same time, they are very heavily dependent on suppliers to send the goods on time to them, right? From a finance perspective, they have a lot of manual reconciliation processes with paper invoices. At the same time, they also have to pay multiple suppliers with different payment methods. This creates a lot of hassle and also lengthen the time that is required for finance to process the payments and make payments to their suppliers. From a sales perspective, they always run, sort of like in-house ad hoc promotions to attract their customers, right? And they often have to update their menu prices according to seasonal pricing, right? At the same time, they would like to create or manage a rewards program so that they can get more loyalty from their customers. After the lockdown happened, the impacts of COVID across the 3 areas are basically for procurement, right? Because they are unable to get back to the office, they are actually unable to send their PO. This impacted the delivery orders as well. So suppliers are not able to deliver orders, due to this lengthier process, or due to insufficient stock as well, because there's no shipment, everywhere is grounded, right? From a finance perspective, payments to suppliers are actually delayed, and they require longer credit terms to help them to tie over this period. Revenue has been severely impacted because revenue has decreased by easily 50 to 90%, because they can't open up their FMB outlet. And because of that, they actually require better cash flow, right, to sustain their businesses. From a sales perspective, they actually want to mitigate revenue loss with a new online sales channel. That means they want to go e-commerce, they want to go food delivery, but they don't know how to do so, and they need help. They want to also maintain and increase their customer engagement so that they can retain their customers and ensure that they do not go to their competitors. So through digitization, the outcome is basically the FMB SME was able to digitize their procurement process. Now with the e-ordering and the e-invoices, they can link up with the e-procurement platform so that they can have a more effective sourcing. If this supplier cannot provide them with the stocks they want, through their platform, they can actually look at another similar supplier which offers the same stock that they require and deliver to them. From a finance perspective, they were able to consolidate their business expenses on business cards to help to improve their cash flow and credit terms. So the business card came in very timely to help them because it allows them to enjoy that additional credit terms itself. And in a later part of the slide, we will go through what's the difference in credit terms. All right. And at the same time, they were able to automate reconciliation with e-invoicing, and that helps their finance to save a lot of time and resources. From a sales perspective, they were able to set up the e-commerce store very quickly, and that helped to recoup some of the revenue loss immediately. And through all the digital advertising campaigns and through the artificial intelligence, they were able to gain insights and customize their campaigns to attract customers more to their shop and their new online facilities. And overall, this offered actually a better customer experience across the board, and they were very happy with that. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Okay, what are the benefits of digitization for SMEs? So we have identified 5 key areas here, basically mainly in terms of cash flow, sales, business processes, payments, and savings. So for cash flow, definitely having digitization will help the SME to increase their cash flow and reduce cost of funding for the business. And for sales, right, there's no doubt that you will help to increase the revenue and expand your outreach to customers. You will also acquire customers faster and quicker and with better insights and more intelligence. For payments, you'll be able to manage your business expenses more effectively because you will have greater visibility on your business expenses. And through the e-procurement platform and the e-payment platforms, right, you will be able to streamline your payment processes to your suppliers, making everything seamless end to end. For business processes, definitely once everything is electronic, you will see the huge improvement in efficiency that will allow you to actually focus more time on your sales and customer, because that's what all SMEs want. You want more customer, more revenue, and more businesses. Lastly, in terms of savings, because of the additional data on hand now, you actually can strengthen your negotiation with your preferred suppliers. And once your negotiations are better, you can actually obtain more cost savings from them. All right. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Thank you. So how can SMEs actually accelerate digitization? So today we will actually look at the various questions that's top of mind for all of you SMEs. In terms of cash flow, how can you improve your cash flow? How can you manage your expenses more effectively? In terms of sales, how can you increase your sales revenue? Payments, how can you streamline your end-to-end payment processes? Business processes, how can you boost the efficiency? Right? You want a one-stop shop, one-stop platform to better manage all your business processes rather than logging into multiple systems and multiple platforms and have to go through very lengthy and manual processes for your business function. And lastly, in terms of savings, how do you actually increase cost savings by strengthening your negotiation with your suppliers? All right. So in the following slides, right, we will be able to go through each question one by one. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Okay, so talking about cash flow, the first question itself, how can you improve your cash flow and enjoy better credit terms, right? On this slide, you will see an illustration between payment with cards and payment without cards itself. So if you look at the top diagram itself, payment without cards, right? Typically, once your supplier issue you the invoice, you have to make payment to the supplier within 30 days. Right, that's the typical timeline for Singapore. This means that your finance, right, will have to manually reconcile the invoice, get the funds in place, and then fire out the payment to make sure that it can reach your supplier within 30 days before the due date of the invoice. If it's on the card payment itself, basically the day one, right, when the supplier issue the invoice, they will actually charge to the card. And card statement will actually be released as per your cycle card. In this case, we assume that the credit statement will be issued 30 days later. So once the credit card statement is issued, you actually enjoy another 28 days before you need to make payment to the bank itself. So all in all, you can see that payment with cards, right, actually offer you additional credit terms of up to 58 days of credit terms. That will allow you to enjoy better cash flow and also lower your cost of funding for your business. Right now, let me hand over to Audrey from UOB Commercial Card Solutions to go through with you the benefits of UOB Commercial Card Solutions. Thank you.
Hi. Thank you, Ivan, for doing that opening, and Daniel for sharing your insights with us, especially during these very challenging times. I am personally looking forward to moving to phase 2 tomorrow. So do I also hear me too? Hello, everyone. I'm Audrey from UOB Commercial Cards. And today I would like to share with you UOB's journeys with our SME customers and how they were able to stay nimble whilst utilizing UOB Commercial Card Solutions. With this, I would like to cover some of the solutions that we have over the 3 main points that you can refer to on the screen. We often hear SME owners asking us this question: what happens when I do not make full payment on the card's due date? We heard them and their concerns about being charged a high interest, and therefore we launched our UOB Business Plus card, which you can see here in the first point. This card has an interest of 1.15% per annum, which works out to 13.8% per annum, whereas a typical card will charge you up to 27% per annum. This allows you to stretch your cash flow, especially during times when you might face delays in receiving payments from your customers, or when something unexpected pops out and additional expenses have to be made. Another talking point that we had for our customers was about boosting cash flow by receiving upfront cash to meet business needs, mostly when it is urgent and there is available unused limit on the card. If you can refer to the second point, UOB business payment, it gives you the option to do just that. You can choose to repay in the next month, or if it works better for you, to pay by installment. Simply break it up over a 3 or 6 months period. The administration fee is as low as 1%. Coming to the third solution, this initiative has been worked on for the past few years along with our platform partners. It's very much aligned with the nation's digital initiative as it aims to help your business by centralizing, digitalizing, streamlining workflows, and that includes payments to your suppliers. With this solution, your supplier will receive his sales proceeds earlier within 5 business days, while you get to enjoy the extended payment terms of up to 60 days. This often helps businesses like yourself to open up the opportunity to talk about early payment discounts with your suppliers. These 3 options form part of UOB's suite of solutions, and we always would first like to hear from you all about your business, your requirements, your challenges, before proposing what best suits you. Going on to the next slide, please. Should you be interested to find out more, here are brief details on the application process and the basic requirements. Your company needs to be locally incorporated, and card applicants need to meet the minimum income requirement of $30,000 per annum. These are the mandatory documentation, and should we require more upon assessment, we'll let you know. Once the documents are in place, it typically takes up to 6 weeks to get the approvals. Should you like to read up more about UOB commercial cards, please visit our website listed here in the first link, uob.com.sg/commercial solutions. Or please drop us an email at commercialcardsenquiry@uobgroup.com, and one of us will get in touch with you shortly. I would personally love to speak with some of you with regards to your industry, the textile, garment, fashion, on how it's evolved over the years with technological advancements, you know, from 3D printing to robotics manufacturing. So please do reach out to us. So as I end, on behalf of the UOB team, I'd like to wish each and every one of you, your teams and your loved ones, good health and keep safe. On this note, I will pass it over to Soman from SGBs. Thank you.
Thank you, Audrey, and that was a very nice send-off. And a very good morning to all our friends on this call. A special thank you for SGTech and Mastercard for getting us all together and walking us through the digitization journey. Just a quick word of introduction to SGBs. Our company, the full name of our company is Singapore E-Business Private Limited. We have been in business for the last 6 years, and in this journey, we have worked with numerous SMEs across segments to help them on the digitization journey. So just walking you through this current slide, and this challenges which buyers and suppliers have today is the challenge the entire industry faces. A lot of our SME friends have or had a manual process of ordering. A lot of that was on paper, on WhatsApp, phones. There wasn't any streamlined activity. It led to a lot of manual work happening, and as a result of that, a lot of costs started getting built onto how this business was being done. And when you come to cost, controlling cost becomes also a challenge. Data was lost in transit. Data written on paper, written on smaller worksheets got lost, and it resulted in reconciliation issues happening because the buyer and seller couldn't reconcile, and as a result, their respective cash flows got impacted. What also got impacted was, from a supplier's perspective, they started having longer days outstanding, and hence the liquidity became an inherent challenge, because for the supplier to get liquidity and for them to start stocking up again and supplying to the buyers, that whole process chain was always disrupted. So SGTechxTAFF came up with a novel solution as to how to address these following points: how to make the procurement process digitized, how to facilitate the payments between companies, and thirdly, how to ensure that the costs go down and there is better reconciliation between the various counterparties. And that is something which I will talk to in the next slide. Okay. Yes. So what have we done? So what we have done, friends, is we have created a modular cloud-based platform which can provide seamless procure-to-pay enablement for SMEs across segments. We work on, I think the key module which we have shown here is the procurement module, which is called Easy Procure, the payment module, which is called Easy Payments, and an Easy Source, which essentially enables you, a buyer, to source from multiple suppliers digitally. The process is very simple. For a procurement engine, a buyer and a supplier comes on the platform. There is a very simple onboarding process. The supplier lists its goods and the pricing on the platform. It invites the buyers to come and transact on the platform, and the buyer can start the journey from a purchase acquisition and end the journey with an invoice or the good received note, with an invoice which can be accepted, with an invoice which can be uploaded as an image, and finally providing the SME automated reconciled data between the invoice, the GRN, and the purchase order, and facilitate a backend integration with whatever ERP or accounting platform which you have. The second piece, which is the payments business, is as simple as launching your credit card or your virtual card, capturing or getting invoice data from your backend, and it could be either through a CSV file, it could be through an SFTP protocol, or it could be an integration to your backend platforms on a scheduler, which we can bring the information, authorize at your end to make the payment via a credit card, and the supplier will get the payment within 2 to 3 days, 2 to 5 days, depending on where the supplier's bank account is, directly into their account. What is the benefit of this entire process? One is, as you may be aware, in a normal credit card environment, the supplier needs to be, the merchant or the supplier needs to be acquired by an acquirer in a model that is not required. So even if the beneficiary, the supplier or the merchant, is not a card accepting merchant, we can still, or a buyer can still make a payment to the supplier on his credit card. My platform enables that. The other features which was just discussed by UOB as well, and we work in very close partnership with UOB and Mastercard to enable this workflow, is the fact that you will get the benefit of the credit period inherent in the card, along with the credit period which your supplier has given to the buyer. So as was explained earlier in the UOB by Mastercard, Daniel, was that if your current credit term on payment term is 30 days given by suppliers, and if your credit card gives you up to 60 days, you can actually look at the credit period extending up to 90 days, pretty much without paying any additional interest charge. And again, as Audrey mentioned earlier, if you should want to avail interest, there is an interest component as well which you can pay. So what we bring via this mechanism is additional liquidity to the buyers, better cash flow to the suppliers, and better business relationship between the buyer and the supplier. Going on to the next slide, in the environment which we had with COVID, we have tried to come to various benefits which we want to provide to the buyers and suppliers, to the business owners. So we have a preferential rate of 0.9% on rental payments to your landlords. So if you have a credit card, it could or a Mastercard, you can very easily use that for making rental payments online. And if you want to do that, we can also offer you Easy Procure as a platform, and early birds get a discount, and free can be made free for the first 3 months. And also, our subscription fees of Easy Procure is an approved solution for a PSG grant by IMDA, and of course, the IMDA conditions apply. But that's the benefit, which almost means that you can actually enjoy Easy Procure platform and get paid by the government to do so. The other benefit for a non-rental payments, say B2B purchases with a UOB card, you can get a lower transactional fee of 2%. The commercial rate available in the market, as you probably are aware, is between 2.4 to 2.7, and different entities with different rates. But this is a specific special rate which we have worked with the blessings of UOB and to offer it to you over other schemes. So do avail of those schemes if you want to. And of course, again, it comes with a Easy Procure platform free for the first 3 months for the early birds. The 60-day benefit on the credit card is something which, up to 60 days, would come with your credit card, and of course, with your discussion with UOB. And again, as Audrey mentioned, if you do not have a UOB card, please do reach out to the bank, and they'll be happy to understand your business needs and hopefully find a solution for you. On SG bills, should you need any further information, please feel free to write to me as indicated below. And also, if you want to visit our website, please do visit our website to get more color and information. So just to wind up, we are here to help you. We have worked with SMEs for the last 6 years. We want to do more with you. We want to bring your platform. We want to electronify or digitize your workflow, your work streams. We can help you understand how the government grants work. We can offer you the benefit of a credit card payment trail, which comes with its own inherent benefits of providing additional liquidity. And we are here to service you and make sure that you have a digitized, fully functioning supply chain platform running at your backend. Thank you for your time. With that, I will pass on to Kelvin from EasyLink, and he will walk you through the next what he can help you with. Over to you, Kelvin. Over to you, Kelvin. You may be on mute.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Soman. Right. Hi, everybody, and a very good morning to all. Right. I just want to give a quick intro about myself. Yeah, I've been with EasyLink, right, as the head of business development. This about coming to 10 years. I'm responsible for the overall transactional services in key verticals for EasyLink CPaaS in transit, retail, and motoring payments, for example, in the electronic road pricing and car parks. Additionally, I do oversee also the EasyLink rewards loyalty platform. Essentially, is about all connecting with our consumers, right, from cradle to silver. Yeah. Last but not least, right, I'm also managing another portfolio specifically with the prepaid Mastercard, covering consumers and corporate verticals. Right, so I'm very happy to partake in this SGTech collaborative partnership with TAFF and Mastercard and with everyone present today. Okay. So I just want to touch a little bit about why is digitalization is important, right? Because of business trends today and in most recent years and even now, right? It is a very generic and very strong word, right? But the question is actually how exactly can digital transformation, right, improve and also help our businesses or your businesses, right? If you have been running a business anywhere in the world for over the last few years, you may have heard multiple references about what is digital transformation. Or maybe even perhaps you as business owners, right, or key management personnel, or you may have started or begun, right, to digitize some aspects of your enterprise solutions or business operation. And that is actually a very good start to embrace digital transformation. But as you know, digital transformation is about much more or merely about technology or disruption or innovation advancements, right, it actually involves a great deal of these both aspects. But I think, personally, I think a key factor, right, is about the human element also that needs to embrace such solutions as what our partners from Mastercard, UOB, and SGBs has also shared, right? It's about embracing digital transformation, and purely it's not about intention of replacing people, but the key intention here is to help you and your organization to be efficient and productive. Now, let's see what kind of solutions we can help from EasyLink to bring about digital transformation and can benefit your business. So today I have 3 key solutions to share with all, right? Which is the EasyLink Prepaid with Mastercard. So these are a suite of services that we have curated over the years, right, to bring needs to our corporate entities and SMEs and business owners like you. Yeah. The first one that I would like to share is actually the corporate gift cards. Just imagine that if you're today buying or procuring e-vouchers or physical vouchers, right, there's a lot of manual processes that's involved. But if you can simply embrace something new, which is the corporate gift cards together with EasyLink and Mastercard, right? It is a one-time gift card that you can even put your branding on the prepaid card. And this corporate gift card is good for you to use it for your brand reinforcement. You can use it as gifts for your clients, gifts for your employees who have, example, have a long employment award. So these are some of these one solution that can actually use this. And it's a very simple onboarding process that I will share in the next slide. The second solution that I would like to bring upon to everyone is the corporate expense management or business expense management solution that we will be catering for, right? And this offers a real-time expense tracking and control, right, for your employees to use. This simplify the expense submission and availability of the audit trails. It can also have a direct integration with your accounting software. And what it does, it also provides reports, analytical reports for your own reconciliation. Just one example of how we can embrace this is when you have online recurring payments, much of it, you will need to use it through a cashless payments. But in this case, when you embrace it with the corporate expense management solution, right, everything will be done through this prepaid Mastercard, and you can track your own and manage your own business expenses. Now, the last solution that I'd like to bring upon is a corporate disbursement solution. Across this segment, we have worked very closely with government agencies, MNCs, SMEs, and startup companies. Essentially, right, this solution can be looked at as a means of disbursement for commission, disbursement for perhaps even for salary through this card that is being issued to your employees, right? And this increases the administration efficiency and also payment processes, and it simplifies your whole operational workflow. And across this segment, once you have this card, you can use across globally where Mastercard rails are being accepted. Okay, so can we have the next slide, please? So as I mentioned, the 3 different solutions, a very simple onboarding based on the first corporate gift cards. Essentially, there's no requirements. If you're looking to issue corporate gift cards to your employees or to your business partners, right, simply give us a call and we'll connect with you and bring about the solutions to you. Now, for the corporate disbursement solution, once again, this is a very simple onboarding processes, right? It just will require for an ACRA, 2 years financial statements, and we will work with you to onboard your business solution with you. Now, for the corporate expense management, this is the latest, newest baby that we have. It's going to be available in this year, October 2020. Essentially, this is a corporate expense management card for your employees to be used across segments, for example, like the travel and entertainment industry, for recurring business expenses, right? Once again, the same onboarding applies. And once again, if you're really interested, right, in the next slide, you can actually connect with us. Can I have the next slide, please? Right, so you can connect with us to find out more, right, in the email address that's being provided, right? And we'll be very happy to bring about and to understand your requirements and bring about the right business solution to help you to embrace digital transformation. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much to our 4 speakers. I want to thank Daniel, of course, Jean from Suman from SGBiz and Kelvin from EasyLink. So ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to give you guys some time to ask us questions. Let me just take over this. Here we are. All right, guys, I'm going to put out the emails and contact number of Mastercard, United Overseas Bank, SGEBiz, and EasyLink on the screen for you guys. So audience member, we would like to invite you guys to ask us some questions in the comments chat. But, maybe we'll kick off, with Daniel. Daniel, it's been, we're going to open phase 2 of the economy this Friday. Do you see SMEs, should they continue investing in digitalization effort? When we did this, it was very early in the circuit breaker, and today we'll come in a different time already. Any thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, yes, Ivan. So I feel that definitely they should continue their investment in digitization. The journey doesn't stop here because of phase 2 reopening. Phase 2 is starting to reopen because of we want to help the economy, right? And the SMEs, etc. But at the same time, like what we explained earlier, we have seen the behavior shift for the consumer and corporates. So their online buying behavior will be here to stay. So definitely, SME should continue with digitization efforts to expand on e-commerce facilities and capabilities to capture more customer and businesses.
For sure, for sure. Kelvin, you seem to have thoughts in the area as well, Kelvin.
Oh yes, yes. I think it's a long journey, right? But if you take it step by step by understanding your current business organization, business processes, and once again working across with partners, right, from here today on the screen, or perhaps partners from SGTech to help you, right, to do that step-by-step transformation. Yeah, I think it's and I echo what Daniel have mentioned. We have to continuously to embrace and pivot ourselves, right, amidst this current situation.
All right, and we have a question for Suman coming in. So Suman, from SGBiz perspective, how I know you covered this already, right? So assuming I'm a textile manufacturer here, and I have invoice coming in, do my supplier have to be on the SGEBiz platform as well, or I can just is it more like I can take the invoice and pass it to and upload to SGEBiz? What would the process be like?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for that. The process in SG on the platform is designed to be very simple. Okay, we essentially need to onboard the entity which is initiating the payment. Okay, so in your example, if the company is the entity which has to be making the payment or is initiating a payment, either uploading the invoices, then they would need to sign a very simple agreement with us, which is the onboarding document, and after that, the process is entirely digitized. So their credentials are put on the platform, they get a login ID and a password, they get to add their credit card, and they will get to add the beneficiary details. So the supplier or the merchant need not be an agreement signing entity with us. It is entirely up to the buyer. So the process of adding that is pretty much, I think, 2 minutes if somebody's slow.
Okay.
And once that is done, and once we authenticate the recipient, the payee, which is another half an hour's job, pretty much the payment can start.
Okay. So it's quite a simple and straightforward process, I guess, in terms
Absolutely.
of
and the facility is available to the buyer both on a desktop or a laptop as well as on mobile. So, and mobile is both Android and Apple operating systems. So there is a lot of user interfaces being made available for the customer to avail the plan, to access the platform.
Got it. Thank you so much, Shulman. And Audrey, in terms of from UOB, right? In terms of, I saw some of the new card launches that you guys are introducing to the SME today. Will you say it's comparable to taking a business loan, or how should the SME think about the card products that you guys are talking about versus say taking a business loan from the new bridging loan or the new working capital loan?
I think that's a very good question, Ivan. I think it goes back to the conversation I had earlier, as to we'll first like to always understand where the business is coming from, and essentially what the cash flow is meant, what's the intended use of the cash flow. So with that, I mean, the bank has a full suite of solutions besides cards and loans. There's a whole other suite of solutions. So once we understand where the client's business profile is and what the intended use of the cash flow is, or where the financing gap is, then we will be able to recommend the most suitable solution. Yeah.
So given I think a lot of SME will ask this question, right? So who should be the person they talk to this? Should they send an email to your card side, or should they call their relation manager at the business SME business banking first? Yeah, who should they start talking with first?
Yeah, definitely. As you know, UOB is a huge bank, as with most of the banks in Singapore, and there's so many contact points, right?
Yes.
And, definitely a client can be very confused, but not to worry, definitely work as one bank. So whoever you reach out to, be it your relationship manager that you have a very close relationship with, or let's say you just come through cards, we will direct the inquiries accordingly to the relevant department to address your queries and help our clients.
Got it. Thank you so much, Audrey. We have another question here for Kelvin about your prepaid credit cards, right? So your prepaid gift cards, right? Are you able to track the purchases, or is it, in a sense that, let's say I were to use it as a way to give my employees as an incentive benefit, will we know what the employees spend the money on, or will that not be available to the SME owners who give the cards?
Okay. Thank you for the question, Ivan. I think this solution for corporate gift card, basically, right, it's actually suitable for a one-time gift card for example, employees for long service awards. Another area that SMEs can also explore is, for example, for use in dinner and dance events or welfare programs or one-time disbursement. So what it does is that these cards will be able to use across Mastercard global touch points. Now, second of all, right, you can also track from reports and analytics that we provide back to the corporate entities. So that's one area to look at. Now, but on the hindsight of it, right, this program actually works together, right, with the SMEs by taking away a lot of manual processes, by example, like procurement, right, the nitty-gritty stuff of it, right, and another plus point is that you can actually use it as your branding reinforcements. Yeah.
So understand. So the use case is a bit different from just simply as a liquidity extension. I guess Suleiman and Audrey's product, SGTechxTAFF and UOB, really, and then EasyLink, this prepay one is a good way to. Especially in this trying time, as an incentive bonus to give them things, and you don't have to worry about sending them a check. At least you can have a customized card as well, I'm sure.
Yep, correct. And on the plus point, that if you look at another solution that we have as the business expense payment solution, right?
Okay.
This is actually once again the use case would be, right? If you have any payments that is recurring online. Right, essentially, it requires you to put some form of a credit card payment on it. Perhaps it will be your own credit card. Now, and you have to incur expenses, and you have to do your manual processes of submitting expense claims through your management. But if you use something as an EasyLink business payment solution, right? The segments that you look at is your online payments, your T&E, or your travel and entertainment expenses. Is all tracked within the whole system itself, and from the employee point of view and the employee's point of view, there's audit trails, right? And it helps to also improve your cash flow also. So that is one big plus point, right? If you embrace it with the business payment solution.
Got it. So especially a lot of us now have recurring monthly payments on a lot of software that we're using.
Correct. Yes.
It's something that is a good solution, and it helps streamline the process as well, I guess, for a lot of the SMEs here.
That's correct, Ivan.
All right, guys. SME will have about 3 more minutes. We want to see whether any of you have specific questions. Once again, I think a lot of us come from the tech industry. Personally, I come from the tech industry, so I'm asking a broader-based question. But don't get me wrong. The Textile Association is the reason why we all look so good here today. Honestly, without you guys, I think I'll be in the t-shirt right now, man. So we want to give it back to also Daniel for Mastercard. Any recommend, not about liquidity alone, right? For any of you to wrap it up, any recommendation for how our friends in the textile industry should be adapting? Among all things, I saw some reports saying that the hard truth is this: fashion purchases is one of the largest drop digitally speaking, because we just don't go out. Hopefully that will rebound today, when the fact that tomorrow we are opening the economy. All of us, I have not worn a shoe for the last 8 weeks. I hope I know how to wear a shoe again. I need to get a Velcro shoe now. But it's really amazing. I just took out my shoe from my cupboard yesterday. So any recommendation for how our textile friends can take part in the digital revolution? We start with Daniel first. Since apparels and apparel purchase is one of the largest drop in purchases in the last few months. Daniel.
Yeah, I think regardless of the industry, right, the SMEs shops can definitely make use of platforms or one-stop shop solutions to enhance their business efficiency. So in this case, they can better manage their suppliers. I think the key is to have their data visibility and manage the negotiations with those preferred suppliers better as well. That will help them in the long term because they will know like where are all their business expenses going to, and then they will know which suppliers actually give them the terms that they want and can fulfill their needs better. And given the option, right, some platforms, like I said, can allow them to actually look at other similar providers that other similar providers that offer the same stocks as well. Then they can actually review those options and hopefully can reduce business costs in the process as well.
Thank you, Daniel. Audrey, any thoughts here?
I guess coming from a cash flow point of view, like you rightfully mentioned earlier, everybody has some form of contact with textile, right? We all are dressed in one form or manner, be it good fashion or bad fashion, Coming from back to a cash flow point of view, given that the textile supply chain is so long, right from design down to sourcing of raw material, to raw material production to manufacturing, to then sales, right? There's a different channels of sales that the audience we have today would be very challenged with, and all the way right down to the very last stage, or even recycling. What if the goods don't get sold, and then what do you do with the materials then, So given that you have a very long supply chain, the cash flow has to be very well managed, else you may lose visibility over the where your cash position is at any one point in time. So therefore, I would strongly encourage our audience today to reach out to, for example, Yobi, to come to us and sit down with us and have a conversation as to which part of the journey we can help you with and which solution best suits you, be it a cards or loans or even trade finance or cash management. Yeah. So yeah.
All right. Thank you, Audrey. And of course, all the 4 emails are on the screen, and you guys can take it down to send them an email straight away. Someone first, yes. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Ivan. I would say for all the companies who are present on this webinar, don't look at it only from the point of receiving money, but also look at the point of how you're paying your suppliers. And I think the platform which we have and the solution which we have told to you is principally for both in the company both in the role of a buyer as well as a seller. So you are probably experienced, and especially those who are selling to consumers directly, that you're receiving payments via credit card, and you know what charges you're absorbing as merchant fees. And therefore, if you're looking at your own operations cost today of doing it, if you're doing it manually or via check and cash or any other mode, there is obviously an inherent operations cost which you're running, which kind of gets hidden under general costs. And all those costs go away when you digitize your journey. So look at it both from the point of your procurement as well as the point of your sales. And we have a solution. We, along with Mastercard and UOB, have solutions for solving both the legs of your supply chain. So that's what I would leave the audience with.
All right, thank you so much. And last but not least, Kelvin, any final thoughts?
Thank you, Ivan. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess for in my personal point of view, to everyone listening, I think digital transformation is something that we will have to embrace, and perhaps it may be sooner than what we expected it to be. But I think this is, as I mentioned earlier on, it's a perhaps step by step that you look at, and perhaps on the panelists that have shared across very, very viable solutions to look at. I just want to echo one point about changes in the way of what Solomon has also mentioned, right? It's not about receiving, but also how to manage your business expenses effectively, right? Just on the same point again on the solution that we have, if you really need more information about how to manage it effectively, tracking it effectively, reconciliation, and that is something that we can work together to understand your requirements and work with you to implement a pilot trial with you. Right. The other point also is about, I think Audrey also did mention about, and the textile industry, you have a very long supply chain, and at very touch points or certain point of that, right, there is exchanges of payments and transactions, and that is where certain of these products can come in and take away a lot of administration. Perhaps you may not have audit trails, you may not have transactional reports, but through these various business solutions that we have presented, this will help you in your journey, right? Perhaps today what we are discussing today on the textile industry, that will help you to be more effective and more productive. Thank you.
For sure. Thank you so much, Kelvin. Thank you so much, Daniel. Thank you so much, Roman. And thank you so much, Audrey. Once again, guys, this is a special isolation economy webinar for TAFF. Thank you so much to our member of audience for sitting through this. Now, please kindly have us do the industry survey. You can scan the QR code, or once you close this webinar, the link will be available. And finally, I'll show up the last slide again. Here are everyone's email. Do drop their email. So everyone, please take care. Don't rush out tomorrow. Please don't gather 6-7 people outside. Learn how to tie a shoelace, and take care, everyone. Thank you, panelists. Thank you all. Thank you.
Take care, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay,
Take care. Goodbye.
Thank you.